Welcome to another episode of Excello Best Practice Webinars. Today, we're going to be focusing on the mobile app. My name's Tom. I am an account manager here at Excello and will be hosting today's webinar. I'm also joined by my colleague, John, who is a solutions engineer, and he will be the primary presenter.
Great, thanks, Tom. So today, like Tom said, we'll be going into the mobile app, and we'll spending the front half, for those of you who haven't used the mobile app often or at all, on how to navigate and what really is in the mobile app. And then we'll focus on the three areas that we're finding a lot of our clients are getting value out of using our mobile app. First, how to log time, and some more advanced ways to log time that have recently been introduced. How to add expenses on the fly while we're still there in the airport, or maybe we're at the print shop. And then lastly, how we can add client requests on the fly, especially for those of you who do a lot of ticket work.
Sounds good. We're going to answer all questions at the end. Feel free to submit them through the Q&A function inside the Zoom app. And as I said, we'll get to them to the end. All right, let's get going.
Great, thanks, Tom. So here I'm going to pull up the mobile app. For today, we're going to be demoing in iOS from the Apple device, but we have equal capabilities with Android devices and have a team dedicated to both. So while we're going to be going through iOS, know that the functionality that you see today is all in Android if you're an Android user. So to start off with, on the far right-hand side on the bottom navigation, you'll see a little three buttons or three dots that say modules. And this is where you get to all the modules that you're likely used to in the web app. So that would be the CRM piece, companies and contacts. Below that would be expenses. These could be expenses that you incur on a project, but it can be any expenses. Let's say that there's a printer that you needed to buy when you're going on site for a ticket. You can quickly add expenses on the fly. You'll see a tasks area. This is like the task list and an ability to create quick tasks on the fly. A request section, similar to the request inbox. And then it goes through most of the modules of different areas in the client journey. That would be sales, top of funnel, projects, tickets, retainers. Assets like keeping track of printer information or website logins. We've recently introduced the ability to view quotes and sign-offs. And then lastly, this may be a new concept for you, is in the mobile app, you'll have access to what we call smart locations, and we'll touch on those a bit later. Moving from the right to left on the bottom nav are timers. So here you can see any tasks or any piece of work that you're doing and the time that's related to that. Here we have a calendar view where we're able to see different tasks that are due for each day. Looks like I don't have any tasks that are due today. Then lastly, the stream. And this is just like the stream that you would see in the web app as well, where you're able to see emails going back and forth and updates coming from all the client work that you're doing. So start off with what you can do in the app from the stream. What we can do is we can reply, similar to the web app. So here in the reply, you can see an area to type and have the conversation. So if we're out on the road, or if we're roaming around the office and just want to quickly send an email to a client or others on the team, I can do so. And then, as you can see, we also have the ability to have live time tracking here. So this will be a common theme throughout the mobile app. It's just a really easy way to get time in on the fly. So now I just sent that email to Tony and the rest of the team. Now on the task side, we were looking at the task list, or what was due today from the calendar view. I can also do that from the modules area under task. And let me just create a quick task on the fly here. So let's say we're on site and realize that they had a broken printer. Here, let's have a task to call Hewlett Packard for a new printer. think that conversation is going to take about 20 minutes. I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm on site today, so I'm going to wait until I get back into the office. I'm going to assign it to myself, and then all the rest are just more advanced options. So now that I created that task, I could see it in the calendar view that we're looking at before, or I can see the task lists here and filter it to just things that I'm assigned to. So now you can see all of my overdue tasks as well as all the future tasks, like call Hewlett Packard for a new printer. Now, this leads me into the next area to talk about is how do you log time within Accelo? And we saw one place, logging time on the stream. Another place would be coming to the task that we're working on and adding a timer. So here I'm going to be making a call. Maybe I've been on the phone for a few minutes already. And then I'm going to start the timer. If I navigate back to the timer area, you can see on the very top that I'm automatically logging all the time for that call. And then when I'm done the call, I can clear it out here as well. And then I'll click the top right-hand corner, which is the send, which basically in this case would be submitting the time to my timesheet or to wherever it's going. And here on the timer area, you can see that you can toggle between timers. So if I press play here, the most active one, like a conversation with a client, has gone to the top. I can create timers on the fly. And then, like before, when I'm done with it, I can go and submit the timer. So those are some more of the traditional ways that you log time, really similar to the ways that you might use timers in the web app. Where the mobile app differs is now because we have a mobile phone, we can keep track of where we're going. And a really common example of that is keeping track of when we go to a client site, if we're having a meeting or maybe something is broken and I'm going to fix it. And what we call those, the ability to geofence an area of a client site is called smart locations. The way that we get to smart locations is either by going to the module and going to the bottom and adding a new smart location, or we can also access it from the company area. So here for the Santa Fe Engine Company based out of Seattle, I'm going to add a new smart location. And here I can use the existing address, which would be their headquarters. So anytime I go to their HQ, it's going to keep track of that, or I can manually select it on the map. So I'm just going to use the current location, which is where they're located, right next to the Seattle Aquarium. And I can make this circle or the fence around their office as big or little as I want. Some best practices that we're seeing is creating it a little bit bigger than the office, just in case you come in through another door or you parked somewhere close and you can just let the timer run there. But probably not next to the highway, just in case you're driving past it and come back in. All right, perfect. So now that we've set up the fence, we can do certain actions when we enter that perimeter and then when we exit. So best practices that we're seeing is to start a timer when we enter, and then on exit, we're going to log that time that we spent with the timer. So now anytime we go into that smart location, anywhere around 1500 Western Ave in Seattle, we can have a timer automatically running. And then when I'm done with the timer, I can come back and submit it, or I can edit and put notes on the timer so that I know what I'm doing, the rest of the team knows what I'm doing, and if I'm invoicing for time and materials, I can pass those notes back to the client. So those are some ways that we can keep track of our tasks and our time on the work. Now, the last two areas that I want to focus on is expenses and adding requests. So here in expenses, I can pull up a list of all of the expenses that I've already submitted or invoiced. And if I wanted to create a new one, I can do it here from this module screen. I can take a picture or I can pull it from my photo library on my phone. So here I took a picture of the receipt for a $1.50 banana that I had at the airport. Really expensive banana. All right, it was $1.50. We're passing that through to the client for all the food, travel, and expenses. That was a few days ago, actually. And then as a employee on the team, I want to be reimbursed for this banana that I bought, and then I want to pass that through and make it billable to the client. And whoops, the last section is categorizing that to be passed into our books. And then if I wanted to pick a project or a piece of work that I was against, I could do it from here. All right, perfect. So now I'll be able to view that expense in the expense list. And since it was posted against the project, I could see it as well from the web and also the mobile app. The next area to focus on is on the request side. So request, if you pull up a list, is really similar to the request queue that you would see in the web app. Anything that's actively been claimed, it looks like Tony is answering Stanford women's basketball question. Anything that I'm currently keeping my eyes on, and then all the requests that have come through. So one of the ways to create things like sales or projects or tickets from the web app is through requests. And if you're familiar with requests, you may know that these different support, sales, user acceptance testing queues can then be transitioned or converted into a ticket or a project. So here I might have been on site with Jeff as a support request. When I was working on his printer, he told me that all the wiring for his phone was messed up. And he just never called me or let me know. And maybe I wanted to add a picture of the rig or just keep it as text. So that request would come into the wiring for the phone. And one of the best practices that we've seen, especially for this ticket work, is to create a trigger to automatically convert a request to a ticket. And that's what we've done for this request queue as well. It just has momentarily, for a few seconds, showed up in this all request queue. But if we were to go to the ticket list, we would see that that request has automatically been converted into a ticket wiring for the phone. And then from this ticket, I'll be able to log time, communicate, and do all the ticket work that I need to do to resolve this. Now, this leads into one limitation, or probably the biggest limitation that we see with our clients using the mobile app is being able to move statuses. Right now, this ticket isn't open. You can do all the work, log time, communicate with the clients here from the mobile app, but to convert this status from open to closed, we don't have that functionality quite yet. So a good workaround for creating new tickets is to go through requests, and you can do that here in the mobile app now. But to close out tickets, to send that final invoice, we see the best practice to wait until you come back to the office to be able to do those.